Newcastle Safeguarding Adults Unit. The Safeguarding Adults Unit coordinates the Newcastle Safeguarding Adults Board, known as NSAB, delivery of the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Adults Mental Capacity Act and Deprivation of Liberty Safeguards training, Safeguarding Adults Reviews, known as SARS, collection and reporting on the Safeguarding Adults and Dolls data to National Dataset, management of the Deprivation of Liberty Safeguard process, organisational abuse inquiries, exploitation inquiries where there is evidence of planned organised activity with more than one perpetrator or more than one victim. This includes referral to the National Referral Mechanism, known as NRM, where required. The Safeguarding Adults Unit, also known as the Unit, are not involved in all safeguarding adult concerns that are raised with the Council. The unit provides a single point of contact and representation of adult social care at MAPA, multi-agency public protection arrangements for high-risk offenders or potential offenders, MARIC, multi-agency risk assessment committee for domestic violence victims, MATUC, multi-agency tasking and coordinating domestic violence perpetrators, DARD, domestic abuse-related death reviews, formerly called domestic homicide reviews, PREVENT, government-led multi-agency programme that aims to stop individuals becoming terrorists. Types of cases where it is expected that the Safeguarding Adult Unit will be consulted or notified: PREVENT, honour-based violence, forced marriage, modern-day slavery, human trafficking, exploitation, young people transitioning into adult social services, organisational concerns, concerns with multiple victims or perpetrators. The unit is overseen by a team of safeguarding adult managers who also manage the advice line, chair individual and organisational strategy meetings, and attend MAPA, MARIC and parallel processes. The unit works alongside the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, known as MASH. Expectations of the Safeguarding Adults Unit advice line. A Safeguarding Adults Manager offers advice and support to all internal and external professionals in relation to safeguarding adults policy, procedures and best practice. This is not a referral or a duty system, and whilst every effort will be made to respond to your contact on the same day, it may take until the next working day. It is the responsibility of the person seeking advice to identify and address any risks and not wait until the Safeguarding Adults Unit have provided you with a response. If you have an urgent or immediate issue, please go direct to your manager for advice. Do not delay in seeking appropriate action. Support for professionals. Safeguarding advice from the unit is available Monday to Friday. Contact the unit with details of the advice required using the online advice form. Before contacting the unit, make sure you have done the following: gathered initial information to ascertain the details of the concern, i.e., what has happened, next of kin views, has significant harm occurred, and an initial risk management plan. Check the resources for practice available on the Newcastle Safeguarding website. Discuss the concern with a manager or safeguarding adult lead within your organisation, and prepare a professional opinion as to what you think the action taken could or should be for the case. Escalation of cases. The Safeguarding Adults Unit can be contacted as part of escalation processes within the Newcastle Safeguarding Adults Board, multi-agency policies and procedures. This might be for a number of reasons, but could include difficulties engaging the adult at risk and/or partners in the Safeguarding Adults inquiry, or where risks remain high and interventions to manage risks have proved unsuccessful. Safeguarding meetings. A Safeguarding Adults Manager from the unit will chair and support coordination in the following instances: Safeguarding Adults investigations and protection plan meetings in relation to commissioned services, where the concern is related to a staff member or the organisation. Safeguarding Adults investigations and protection plan meetings in relation to other agencies. Safeguarding Adults investigations and protection plan meetings in complex cases in negotiation with the Safeguarding Adults Manager and the referring team managers where there is a need for an independent Safeguarding Adults Chair. The Safeguarding Adults process crosses teams, for example, adult social care and children's services are involved. They cross local authority boundaries and services. For example, several health trusts are involved. There are complex interfamilial issues. There are multiple victims in different teams, local authorities, or health trusts. There are multiple perpetrators, for example, gang or group, or there are complex multiple investigations. Organisational concerns. Organisational abuse, including neglect and poor care practice within an institution or specific care setting, such as a hospital or care home, for example, or in relation to care provided in one's own home. This may range from one-off incidents to ongoing ill treatment. It can be through neglect or poor professional practice as a result of the structure, policies, processes, and practices within an organisation. A Safeguarding Adults manager from the Safeguarding Adults unit will chair and support coordination in the following instances: Safeguarding Adults investigations and protection plan meetings in relation to commissioned services, where the concern is related to a staff member or the organisation, for example nursing homes, social care homes, day services, resource centres and home care including care at home. Direct payments and commission services. This includes staff in a paid or volunteer role and acting as a personal assistant, legal services, and other agencies to consider the proportionality of making disclosures to employers. Where there is abuse between people with care needs in a commissioned service, that the Safeguarding Adults unit should be made aware to check if there are ongoing issues with that service. Safeguarding Adults investigations and protection plan meetings in relation to other agencies, for example the police, probation, hospitals, and community and voluntary organisations, where the concern relates to staff, paid or unpaid. Persons in a position of trust, known as PIPOT. The statutory guidance to the Care Act 2014 requires Safeguarding Adults boards to establish and agree a framework and process to respond to allegations against anyone who works, either paid or unpaid, with adults with care and support needs. We have recently launched a guidance to ensure appropriate actions are taken to manage allegations, regardless of whether they are made in connection with the PIPOT's employment, in their private lives, or any other capacity. The Safeguarding Adults unit may be consulted for advice on PIPOT cases if, after consulting the guidance, there is not clarity on what action should be taken. Exploitation. Exploitation involves exploitative situations, contexts and relationships where someone receives something, for example food, accommodation, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, affection, gifts, or money, amongst other things, because of them completing a task on behalf of another individual or group of individuals. Perpetrators will often target young or vulnerable adults in order to exploit them, preying on their vulnerabilities, and then using this against them in order for the perpetrator to gain control of the victim's actions. The Safeguarding Adults unit have a dedicated manager who is single point of contact for adult exploitation. There is also a dedicated social worker who can support with safeguarding cases involving exploitation. MAPA. Multi-agency public protection arrangements are in place to ensure the successful management of violent and sexual offenders. The guidance sets out the responsibilities of the police, probation trusts, and prison service. It also touches on how other agencies may become involved. For example, the Youth Justice Board will be responsible for the care of young offenders. The guidance includes information on the following: identification and notification of MAPA offenders; VISA, the secure database that holds details of MAPA offenders; information sharing; disclosure and risk management plans; multi-agency public protection meetings; MAPA document sets; custody, recall and transfer of MAPA cases; critical public protection cases; mentally disorder offenders and MAPA. Information on MAPA can be found on this link. A manager from the unit attends MAPA meetings and will agree appropriate Safeguarding Adults actions where appropriate. Multi-agency risk assessment conferences, known as MARIC, relate to domestic violence. Domestic violence and abuse is identified as any incident or pattern of incidents of controlling, coercive or threatening behaviour, violence or abuse between those aged 16 or over who are or have been intimate partners or family members, regardless of their gender and sexuality. This can encompass, but is not limited to, the following types of abuse: psychological, physical, financial, sexual, and emotional. Safeguarding Adults queries are often used in response to concerns of domestic abuse perpetrated against the adult with care and support needs. Practitioners should consult the multi-agency domestic violence and abuse flowchart for guidance on the most appropriate response to a concern or disclosure. Here you can read more information about the MARIC process. Safeguarding Adults referrals to the local authority should be made in the normal way. Where MARIC criteria is also felt to be met, a referral to MARIC should be made, as well as the Safeguarding Adults alert. Transition cases. The transition protocol. If you have concerns relating to a child or young person under 18 who is at risk of harm, you should first consult the NSCP Safeguarding Policy and Procedures and make a referral to Children's Social Care. This is because Children's Social Care are responsible for the safeguarding, care and support of the young person until they turn 18. This could result in any of the following processes or meetings being undertaken as deemed appropriate: recommendation of early help support, recommendation of a child and family assessment to explore the support and needs of the family, a child protection strategy discussion or meeting, which could lead to a child protection inquiry being undertaken. If the young person is subject to one of the above meetings or processes and is aged 17 and a half years old or over, a Safeguarding Adults manager from the Safeguarding Adults unit should be consulted and invited to any meetings which might be taking place under Safeguarding Children arrangements. A Safeguarding Adults manager from the unit would always take the lead on coordinating Safeguarding Adults inquiries involving a child approaching their 18th birthday, even if that child was open to adult social work teams as part of other transitional plans or arrangements. Where it is felt that the Safeguarding Adults procedures are appropriate, Children's Social Care will be required to complete a Safeguarding Adults referral. A Safeguarding Adults manager has the responsibility to make the decision to implement the Safeguarding Adults procedure or not.